Hello, it's your favorite sports Unc here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the fastest growing community on YouTube. Remember, Nightcap doesn't happen without you. So please subscribe or you're going to make Ocho cry. The Rams defeated the Jets 19-9. Garrett Wilson seems like he's done in New York. Wilson was asked why he wasn't more involved until late in the game. I would love to be more involved. I would love to make an impact on the game, but if people see it differently, that's out of my control. Just try to do what I can do. Aaron Rodgers on the Jets, you got to figure out what it means to be a professional. That's the most important part of building a culture. The last 2 weeks, we can really see who's on board moving forward and who's ready to get out. I saw that at the beginning when whoever showed up for mandatory minicamp. That lets me know who's really on board and who was ready to get out.
Hey, it's
I want to know, hold on, if you don't mind me asking, Ocho, who fumbled that ball at the end of the game?
Oh, yeah, that was
Mr.
Rodgers, please, sir. Yeah, that was him. That was him. I understand Garrett Wilson's frustrations, honestly. You know, as a young player that had a stellar rookie season and things haven't been the same, understanding your potential, understanding what you can do, understanding wanting to contribute because the team is playing bad and you still not getting the opportunities that you feel you deserve. You know, I get it. I get it. I hope they free him, free Garrett Wilson, allow him to go somewhere else where he can flourish and he can be used to his full potential with great understanding on what he can do for you as a player, you know?
Yes.
I mean, he's good. He's good, and he's not being showcased in that way.
Well, it's going to be hard because Davante Adams has a relationship, football relationship, the personal relationship aside, but he has a football relationship. They see things very, very similar because they got 6-7 years of history in Green Bay. This is the offense. So there is no makeup. There is no catch-up for those two. And so Garrett Wilson is looking at like, hold on, 13 targets, I got 7. Last week he had 15, 16 targets, I got this many. He's like, I see where this is going. As long as he's here, I'm going to be second, and I'm a number one. Yeah. I'm nobody's number 2. I'm just, look, that he didn't tell, I don't know Garrett Wilson. I'm just telling you his mindset and how he thinks. And I'm telling you from a guy that's won Offensive Rookie of the Year with lesser tier quarterbacks. He's like, well, what y'all want me to do? Because y'all thinking it's me. I'm telling you, y'all think it's me. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because, man, look at the connection he has with Davante. Yeah, he has a connection with Davante because he's played with Davante for 7 years in the same offense. So they know they're on the same wavelength. But it bothers me. You got to figure out what it means to be professional. Is that before the season or during the season or after the season? Okay? That's the important part of building culture. I thought the best part of building culture is, see, Ocho, a lot of people can talk. There are only few people can speak. Aaron Rodgers talks. You don't speak.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Because the thing is with the great leaders, the one thing as a leader, you can never ask more than you're willing to give. You can't ask somebody to do something that you're not willing to do. See, Tom Brady couldn't ask people to be in minicamp and be in mandatory minicamps and be in OTAs if he wasn't showing his ass up there. Peyton Manning couldn't do that. Ray Lewis couldn't do that. You can't do what you're not willing to do, but you ask others to do. So you do as I say, don't do as I do. So now all of a sudden, you're 4-11. Last year you were 7-9. Now you want to what it's like to be professional. Professionalism doesn't start during the game. It starts long before the game is even played. Aaron Rodgers hadn't been professional in a very long time.
Yeah.
That's factual. There's a reason why he's not no longer in Green Bay. There's a reason why they drafted a quarterback and traded up to get him. Yeah. That's not an accident.
He knows that.
No, he doesn't. It's somebody else's fault. It's always somebody else's fault.
Yeah, he never takes accountability. And
he never will. Because the moment that you try to place, the moment you try to hold him accountable, he'll make it, who are you to talk to me? Because a lot of times he's not the only one. He's not the first. Sometimes when you're great, you feel you're beyond reproach. So unless somebody else, so if that's the case, players like, unless you're Peyton Manning, how can you critique me? Unless you're Joe Montana, unless you're one of the historically great players, how do you get to critique me because I'm so accomplished? I'm not a critiquing your accomplishments. I'm critiquing your play currently. And you see a lot of times, Ocho, when you talk about a historically great player and people and their support staff thinks you're trying to discredit what they've done. You did everything that you've accomplished. What we're talking about right now. Because what you accomplished. So let me ask you this. What is those 4 MVPs? What have they done for the Jets this year?
Nothing he did fast has contributed.
So, and the man, he already told you, Ocho, he told you that he felt his resume is so great, he shouldn't have to audition for a job next year on the Jets. That's what he told you. When everybody else always has to audition, you playing for your job. And based on, now, had he had one of those seasons like he has in Green Bay, who would we argue?
But he hasn't had that.
But Aaron hasn't played well this year. And it's okay to say that. Everything aside, just stick to football. Let's just stick to on the field. Any Jet fan, any of the diehard, the staunchest supporter of Aaron Rodgers, do you believe Aaron Rodgers has played good football this year? It's a simple yes or a simple no.
I don't think they would disagree with you, Unc. They ain't gonna disagree with you. The proof is in the pudding. The record is in the pudding. The things he say, on the Pat McAfee show, and putting the blame on everybody else. Again today, saying things that he doesn't even do himself. Same story, different book.
Yeah. And look, and everybody knows I was all the player on the field. I was been his biggest supporter. Go back and check the tape. But I've also said, I was also the one that said he's very arrogant. He's smug. He's condescending. He's flippant. He's arrogant. I've said all those. This is not nothing new. Go back and check the tapes at CBS. I said it 14 years, 15 years ago. This is nothing new. But that stuff, see, you can be all those things when you're playing at an MVP level. Then, when you're not, just acknowledge it. If Tom realized his last year in Tampa, Tom didn't play great. Tom had won 7 Super Bowls. He had been a multiple-time MVP. He'd been a 5-time Super Bowl MVP. But his last year in Tampa, Tom did not play well. It was okay to say that. Peyton, his last year in Denver, Peyton didn't play well. Peyton didn't play well in the Super Bowl. They won, but go back and check the tape. That doesn't take away from the 5 times that he won the MVP. That doesn't take away from what he had done. He had thrown for more yards. He had more passes, more touchdowns, more yards, more come from behind, whatever else he had. He did that. But it's okay to say when a guy doesn't play well, he didn't play well. We've got to stop this notion because we like somebody and they say, well, he didn't play well. He didn't. He didn't.
Right.
And it's okay. But it's going to be very interesting. The Jets got some very tough decisions because they thought, now you go back and look at it. Now, the defense gave up 19 points. That's not a ton of points. But this is not the same defense that Robert Saleh was in charge of. You fired the head coach, who's your DC. You demoted your OC. And for what? 2 more wins? How many wins did they have when they fired Robert Saleh? They had 2. They were 2-3.
Yeah.
When they fired
Saleh.
Guess they won 2 more games. You fired your head coach and you demoted the offensive coordinator.
Nothing else has really changed.
Nothing. He's just not the same player. Can he spin the ball occasionally that reminds you of what he once was? Absolutely. Yeah. But he's not that consistent. This was the Jets' 6th loss, despite holding a fourth quarter lead, which is league high. The Jets opened with a 99-yard touchdown drive. They didn't punt once and still managed only 9 points. Yeah. Let that sink in, Ocho. The Jets did not punt the football. They scored this many points. But go ahead. I want to see y'all blame the defense. Because the defense ain't doing what they're supposed to, the defense. How you not punt the ball once, Ocho? Yeah. Not one punt? That's got to be a record or something. What's the record for the fewest amount of punts, the fewest points ever scored in a game in which a team didn't punt?
Damn. Hey, you know what's funny? Now, when we think about it, we argue about it, we go back and forth about Aaron Rodgers. He's still going to be the quarterback next year. You know why? Because you think about the landscape of quarterbacks, you think about what's available in the draft, you think about what's available in free agency, and you understand the difficulties and what it takes to compete. I mean, as a team in general, and you can't do it without a quarterback, even though the record is what it is this year, 4 and whatever it may be.
Do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always done.
And they've been getting that for the past 50, 60 years because they haven't been able to find a quarterback to be able to be consistent enough. And they still haven't, honestly, because you have someone that shows flashes of greatness, flashes of brilliance and what he used to be, and you're holding on and hoping he can muster up just enough, offensively for you to get, a glimpse of what you saw when he was with Green Bay. And they're going to hold on to that. And he's going to hold them hostage in prison to the fact that, look at my resume. This is what I've done in the past. And at the chance, if by God means, if I buy in like I should, there's a chance I could look like that again.
He was my favorite quarterback to watch, man. The way he could just spin the ball. And I was in the league, like I said. Ocho, I was in the league with Danny. And I thought Danny was one of the most gifted throwers of the football. I'm talking about, man, he could just flat out spin it. Warren Moon could flat out spin the ball. 7, my quarterback could spin. I played, I caught the tail end of Joe Montana. Joe wasn't what he was in the 80s, but I saw him have flashes. I stood on the sideline and I watched Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl against the Steelers. He threw the ball as beautiful, as well as anybody I had ever seen with my own 2 eyes. I'm talking about beauty. And I was convinced that day. I remember going back and saying, I've never, ever seen somebody throw the football like this man. And I'm talking about, and I stood on the sideline and watched Marino. I watched Montana. I watched Moon. I was on the field with John. I'm talking about great play. Peyton, Brady. I played against all of them. With my 2 eyes, I've never seen a guy throw the ball better than Aaron Rodgers. I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm talking about arm angles, on the rolling left, rolling right. I'm talking about with a flick of the wrist. And the ball just springs out of his hand. He's just not that anymore. And it's okay.